Smiling faces. Challenged minds. Full bellies. Hope and a future. All these and more have come to African orphans through your hand-in-hand orphan schools, the result of partnerships between you and your partner churches in the Central African Republic. Your partnerships are the truest form of partnership, where each partner in the relationship has a unique gift to offer, and where the blessing each is seeking to pour out on needy African orphans would be impossible without the help of the other. These smiles on the faces of happy, growing kids are proof of the success of your partnerships. Let's take a visit to your schools.
By now, last fall's missions conference here at Grace College is probably a distant memory, but the missions offering you gave at that time to help orphans in 2 communities in the Central African Republic has been blessing 95 kids every day since. And several weeks after Grace Missions Conference, I had the privilege of visiting your 2 orphan schools in Africa, and I'd like to share with you what I saw. So join me on a brief tour of your schools. Leaving Gbandenge, Central African Republic, we traveled 200 miles north before arriving at your first school at the Gbandenge Grace Brethren Church. Waiting for us out by the road was a delegation of 2 elders and Pastor Jacques, who, by the way, appears to be an Obama fan. They led us back to the church building, which doubles during the week as a school, and where we found many church and community folks waiting for us. The children were so excited to show us what they had learned in their first month of school, and it was evident that teacher Anatole is a very capable teacher. In both of your schools, here at Gbandenge and also at Borro, the children are fed a lunch of rice porridge and bread 3 times a week, and vegetables with either meat or fish on alternate days. 50 orphans in this little community are being helped by your school. 50 kids, each with their own name and story, like Mariette, Elsie, and Melvia. But none of their stories would have included going to school were it not for your hand-in-hand school here at Gbandenge. Here we met this little gal named Emilienne, who has suffered a lot in her short life. Today she is well, but illness has left her severely deformed. School is a blessing for all your kids, but for Emilienne, who is older, school is her only break from the hard work that awaits her at her care provider's home. For all your kids, school is not just the bright spot in their day, it is also brightening their future by giving them an education, the ability to read, which will enable them one day to be leaders in their churches and communities, and more importantly, will enable them to read God's Word for themselves. Leaving Gbandenge, we continue north for 100 miles on a very bumpy dirt road where, after 3 hours, we arrive at your second orphan school hosted by the Borro Grace Brethren Church. Teacher Marie-Noël is an excellent teacher with many years of experience, which has come in handy teaching her 45 eager students. Imagine packing 45 American kids this close together in class. Aside from the occasional borrowed answer, this arrangement works out just fine in Africa, where personal space is defined way differently than in the USA. By this time of the school year, hand-in-hand schools all have their own dishes and utensils, but early in the year, the children would bring their own bowls and spoons each day for lunch. Marie-Noël's years of teaching women at the Bosingwa Bible Institute have also prepared her to teach her students about Jesus. In addition to Bible lessons, all hand-in-hand students learn the oral Bible, a kind of African version of Walk Through the Bible. So often when African orphans tell their stories, they start out with, "Everyone knows that nothing good can come to a child in Africa without a father," as if this were an established fact that no African would ever refute. Sadly, this is an African adage because it usually is true. True unless something or someone intervenes. Back in October at Grace Missions Conference, you intervened, and because of it, 95 African orphans are being taught, fed, and offered hope and a future. So thank you. Thank you on behalf of Mariette, Melvia, Elsie, Emilienne, Freddy, Achille, Benicia, Christelle, Flore, Galig, Pamela,